Good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock, and we are so glad that you are joining us tonight. I'm glad that everyone is here. I am going to introduce myself as well as Miss Julie Abram. My name is Rebecca Brown, and I serve as the Deputy Superintendent of Academics here in LaPorte. And Julie, if you want to introduce yourself to the group.
Good evening. I'm Julie Abram. I'm the Executive Director of Teaching and Learning here in LaPorte ISD, and I'm grateful for your presence tonight.
I'm glad you're here. So this will also be recorded. We wanted to spend this hour to give you a quick gist of STAAR 2.0, STAAR redesign, and give you some information that will be helpful for you and your child while they are preparing now for STAAR. I know that you are your child's in the classrooms now. You're hearing it from the principals, you're hearing it from the teachers, and we wanted to give you time to look at and to talk and see what STAAR 2.0 is all about, STAAR redesign, for you to kind of wrap your head around what your students are also, your child is also learning and doing in the schools every day. So we're going to go ahead and get started since it's 6:01, and I want to honor everyone's time. Again, welcome. Our first slide, supporting your student for STAAR success. And again, we want to welcome all our parents. Again, my name is Dr. Brown, and Julie is on, and we will take turns with different slides and go over different things with you. So what is new for 2023? Julie, you want to share before we show them the video?
Yes, so one of the things that we have really been working hard on is making sure that our students are well supported for the new STAAR as it approaches here at the end of April and the first part of May. Lots of changes in terms of what students will experience in the online testing platform, the way that students are asked different questions, the way that the questions look, and just what it means for instruction in the classroom. So just want to take a minute and just give you a quick little snapshot of what we're going to talk about and go into detail after this.
You want me to pull it up, Julie?
So some exciting changes with STAAR 2.0 and its redesign. And really the understanding here is that STAAR is changing to better align to what kids experience every day in the classroom. And so there are 4 big ways that the STAAR is being redesigned to align to that experience. Number 1, in classrooms, we work hard to build comprehension through context and background knowledge. So in other words, connecting student learning or new learning to what students already know. And the redesigned assessment will capitalize on that by allowing students to demonstrate their understanding of reading through cross-curricular passages, rather than just reading fiction or drama or poetry. They'll be reading science passages, social studies passages, and so on, connecting to their prior learning to demonstrate their understanding for reading. The second big thing that will be present as a result of the redesign is connecting to how effective classrooms encourage students to write about what they read and use evidence from the text. So we know that good, effective classroom teachers and instruction, kids are writing all the time and they're defending their opinions and their ideas using evidence, whether it's from the text or from other sources. The STAAR redesign is going to also capitalize on that by asking students to write in every reading language arts assessment. This is new. We have not assessed in every grade level writing. In the past, we have assessed in 4th grade and in 7th grade the separate writing skills for students. But in the new redesign, we will be assessing writing in every grade level in reading language arts. And students will be asked to write evidence-based responses. So they'll have to use writing as a response to reading and use evidence from the text to support their responses. The third way that the STAAR is changing is it's providing various open-ended formats for students to respond to questions. So typically when we think of an assessment, we think of multiple choice questions where students can choose from A, B, C, or D. And in fact, on the new redesign, the test will be limited to the number of questions that are single response that has been historically present on the test in full. Now, the new redesign is going to ask students to perform to non-multiple choice questions. They'll be doing things like dragging and dropping, pointing and clicking. There'll be text boxes for them to type in their answers. There will be equation editors in math for them to type in mathematical equations, very much like what they would do in the classroom. Kids are not given multiple choice test questions every day in the classroom. They're demonstrating their learning through different types of written products, and that is what is going to be reflected on the new STAAR. And then finally, we provide accommodations for students in the classroom in a number of ways, and the new redesigned STAAR will allow us to enhance the accommodations that we provide to all students through the online assessments that all STAAR assessments will be given in. So all the assessments will be given online, and paper pencil tests are no longer. So those are the big pieces of change for the STAAR redesign. So what does that mean for our students? Well, I mentioned that cross-curricular passages are really prevalent on the new redesigned STAAR. This is particularly important when we talk about reading assessments. Historically, students will have asked to be reading a fiction piece or a poetry piece, and they still may be asked to do those things on the STAAR redesign. But in order for us to demonstrate background knowledge, kids will also be asked to read passages from science, for example. So if you look at the example that's here on the slide, in a 4th grade student A, in ELAR, they might read stories of the nautical adventures of a sailor that's also a giant. In science, they might read about and learn lessons about the sun as a source of energy, social studies, lessons about the Battle of the Alamo. And so any of those kinds of learning, texts from that kind of learning can be part of what's assessed on the assessment. Here's another example of a 5th grade reading language arts passage. This is an excerpt from the Cola Cactus, and this is a naturalist article, if you will, talking about the search for water and so forth. And the passage directly connects to what students have learned previously, their background knowledge in 4th and 5th grade science. And so they'll be asked to read this passage about things they know from 4th and 5th grade science learning, and they'll be asked to demonstrate their understanding of reading through this cross-curricular passage. Okay. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Brown, who's going to talk about additional question type differences that we are going to see.
Great. Thanks, Julie. So to delve deeper into new question types, we wanted to give you a quick summary of some types of questions that could be asked on STAAR this year. So normally students are used to, and parents and teachers are used to multiple choice questions, A, B, C, D, E. Now, with the STAAR redesign, TA has taken test questions and changed them where they are also interactive in a way where students are not only just choosing A, B, C, D multiple choice, but they have different other types of test type questions. So if you look here on this slide, grades 3 through 8, this is called text entry. So basically what this is showing you is it's kind of a picture and then a question asked, but what you want to look at is the quick tip is encouraging your kids to reread before answering questions because it's very important for them to, it's almost like a fill in the blank here, and they're going to put in an answer there, and the text entry is about the precise language that they put in. So again, it's no longer an A, B, C, D, E choice. It's them actually filling the blank and putting in a word. So that's what they're calling a text entry type of question type. Another type of question in reading language arts and social studies is called a multi-part question. And if you look at this, we've given you here on this slide talks about big ideas. What is it when a student, when your child is at home reading? A tip for parents at home is to be a strong reading partner is by tagging the question WHY into your child's initial answers. And so when they're reading something, it's just as simple as, so why did this happen? Why did the character do this? Or why was the problem in the story this? So it helps the child to think about the problem, think about how they grow ideas. And really the two words we have here is literal and inferential. It's not just on the text, but also thinking beyond the text and inferring what could happen. So that would help with this type of question on STAAR. Another question type that your student may see, your child may see on STAAR is multi-select. So if you look at this, there are different choices that they could choose. So no longer is it choice 1, 2, A, B, C, D, and only one. So a quick tip here for parents is, so have fun discussion about watching a movie or a TV show and list several character traits. So not only are we telling our child to, because we know they like to watch TV at home and watch shows, but take that moment to ask questions and ask them to think about the character traits that the show they're watching, their favorite show. List the top reasons for liking a certain food or place that they watch. Then discuss why behind this thinking. So again, the key word, the quick key question is why, WHY. We want to go beyond the comprehension type of questions and more of inferring and thinking beyond and having students reason and think through why they would choose or explain a answer. In addition, in math, and we wanted to give you an idea of what math would look like, a math question. Here you see an example of a math question that teachers in the classroom are teaching with fractions. So students not only in fractions, when they're learning fractions like in 3rd and 4th grade, we use manipulatives, we have them draw, we have them shade in so that they know the difference between a fraction and a whole number. And so if you look at the potential STAAR question this year, again, it's no longer A, B, C, D, E. Here they ask a fraction question, but students here will have the opportunity to shade in the particular fraction answer. So again, they would click on, and if you see the purple bars, those would actually be clicks that your child would be clicking on to have a potential answer for the question. So again, no longer A, B, C, D, E. In 6th grade, I wanted to give you an example of a graphing type of question. This is a graphing sample question. Again, in 6th grade, they're looking at not only are they dotting the points, but they will have to put in the graph and not only, again, not A, B, C, D, E, but dotting in what the answer will be by using the graph. Again, it's an interactive type of question. Moving on, in grade 8, equation editor and text entry. So look at this one. This is really almost, it's like a calculator. So students will, what they would do is when answering this question is they would put in, again, this is actually almost like a fill in the blank, but it's numerical, putting in the answer themselves. So back then they would have choices of A, B, C, D, and E, but here students will have to decide what the answer is, meaning figure it out and then type in the text entry for the answer also in the math section. Here we wanted to share with you different types of new item types, but we also wanted to show you how it could connects to the curriculum and things that the teachers are doing in the classroom in our grades, all the way from kinder. So we start early. We do not wait to third grade and start teaching for STAAR. We know that early literacy is important. We know that we start with our pre-K babies all the way up to our kinder. And so if you notice on the left-hand side of the chart are some new question types that are being created for this STAAR 2.0. In the middle column are connections of different type of lesson activities that teachers are utilizing in the classroom to help strengthen those new question type. And also on the third column, you would see what type of activities they are. For instance, if you look at text entry for grades 6 through 8 in the classroom, teachers use a lot of turn and talk and jots. It's a type of strategy. And within the item type, you would see that this will help with interactive read alouds, with word studies, and also close reading. So again, this is just to give you a comparison of how we have taken different question types that we know will be asked on STAAR and how we have intentionally designed lessons for teachers to help them with strategies in order to help our students be prepared for the STAAR. Julie?
So not only does the STAAR redesign call for new item types that are going to require our students to be really on top of their understandings. They're not going to get the process of elimination that they're used to with A, B, C, D. They're going to have to know an answer and type it in. They're going to have to understand the mathematical equation so they can plot it on a graph. They're going to have to know that there's more than one right answer and select multiple choices and so forth. But in addition to that portion of the assessment, the students are also going to be asked to do the writing. The writing, as I mentioned, was previously tested only in 4th and 7th grades, and now writing is being assessed in all grades where there's a reading language arts assessment 3 through grades 10 or English 2 EOC. So with this writing, students are going to be asked to do what we call evidence-based writing, meaning that students have to support what they say with evidence from a text or from a stimulus. What this means is that, as I mentioned, reading, writing, all grades, they must use evidence from the text to support what they say or support their answer or their opinion or their response. And the text that the kids will be asked to read and then respond to can either be a fiction or it can be a nonfiction cross-curricular text, as we've mentioned earlier. So it can be any kind of reading that students are presented and they're asked to read, understand, and then generate a response and use evidence from the text to support what they say. It's a lot of skill development that students will be asked to demonstrate on this assessment, starting in grade 3. So what does that look like? So here's an example of a prompt that students might see. You'll notice that there is a reading passage here. This could be on the 3rd through 5th grade reading language arts assessment. There is an example, it's a nonfiction text about steam and sail. So there's factual information and informational text about science-related information or historical information. And then the prompt will be steamboats and clippers were popular forms of transportation. Explain whether you think the steamboat or the clipper ship changed life in the United States. And then the continuation of that prompt will be and use evidence from the text to support your answer. So students will be asked to answer the prompt and then use evidence to support why they say that. So some things to think about at home, how you can support this skill development for students at home is that our students need to be, number one, reading and have reading stamina. They're not going to be able to respond appropriately if they are not able to read appropriately first. So encourage students to read at home, encourage students to read more than one, more lengthy pieces at home, and then interact with students regarding those texts. Ask them to ask questions about meaning, have them explain to you what the texts are about. And encourage students to read for longer periods of time to develop that stamina that these assessments are going to ask of them. Students are going to be experiencing lengthy texts. Of course, they're going to be grade appropriate, but they're going to be lengthy, and there could be 3, 4, 5 or more, depending on the grade and context. So stamina is going to be key for students to be successful on this assessment. Another example for 7th grade. of how the writing is going to look differently. Previously, the 4th and 7th grade writing prompts asked students to write in response to a standalone prompt. There was no reading passage that was required of students. There may have been a quote that they could have, a sentence that would have prompted the writing, but there was no passage that students had to read. It was a standalone question that students were asked to answer. But now, as I've mentioned, the redesigned STAAR asks students to use evidence from a text, or to respond to a reading using evidence from the text to support their responses. So very, very different kind of thinking for our 4th and 7th grade students. Here's an example of how that can look again in an upper grade. Actually, this is a 4th grade reading language arts. So there's a passage from the spelling test, which is a play or a drama. So the kids are being asked to read this play, and then based on the information in the play, write a response to the following. Explain how Herbie's behavior changes and how this is developed by the playwright. Write a well-organized informational essay that uses specific evidence from the play to support your answer. This is 4th grade. So this is a pretty sophisticated kind of writing that we're asking of students. And not only are we looking at, are they able to answer the question and respond appropriately with their ideas and use supporting evidence, but we're also ensuring that students have the ability to effectively use grammar, the English language conventions, as part of how they're scored. So really, really, really deep level thinking for our writing response. As I mentioned earlier, another thing that the new redesigned STAAR will support for students or provide for students is some robust accommodations to ensure that students have accessibility tools that they need, and tools that can be supportive for their specific learning needs. So there are accessibility tools that will be available for all students, and there's a list here, things like highlighters and notepads, Zoom, Color, and so forth. And there are very specific things that we can assign to students using the online platforms that are supportive of students with learning disabilities or special learning needs, things like text-to-speech, reference materials, and so forth. So when we are looking at STAAR and we're receiving those scores back, it's important for us to understand how those scores report and what those scores mean for students. When students receive these scores back, they will receive a scaled score, and those scale scores are broken down into 3 categories. And these are words that are probably very familiar with. Students will either receive masters, so means that the students have mastered the standards or the TEKS in the subject area that's being tested. They meet, meaning that they have met the criteria for TEKS, or they are approaching grade level. Students is approaching mastery of those TEKS in the subject area and for that grade level. So we're looking at approaches, meets, and masters, and those identifiers are based on their scaled scores. Students who score approaching in a subject area, it means that they're approaching grade level performance. They are considered passing scores, but they are students who are still not quite at meet grade level, and indicative of students who, while they have passed, they will still require additional interventions for the upcoming school year to continue to be successful in the next grade level.
Thanks, Julie. So now we wanted to delve into how you at home play a huge role in the partnership with us in schools to ensure that your child is successful, not only in STAAR, but academically in the classroom every day. And so we wanted to share some tips, some critical role tips that we feel are crucial in terms of a student's success every day in the classroom. So one of the biggest pieces is attendance. We need students, we need your child at school every day. It is important that students are here every day, because if they're missing class, they're missing learning. And again, we want students in the classroom. We need students in the classroom. Teachers love to see their kids, and we need you to help us with that. Is that parents need to make sure that our students, that our kiddos are at school every day, because attendance does matter every day. In addition, what we hear is the connection that we love in our elementary, middle schools, is that connection of having regular meetings and communication between our schools and our parents. It is crucial that parents and teachers are communicating in terms of the progress of your child, how well your child is doing, how are they doing at home, what are their needs, or what are their enrichment areas, so that we can help progress the student, the child every day. So it is crucial that the connection of school and family is the most crucial part of the work we do every day. So we honor that work, and we thank you, all of you here tonight, because you also know how important it is to have that connection between parents and school. In addition, especially when students are moving up in grades, they need to have a regular learning at home reinforcement. So there needs to be a designated study area for the child at home. They have to practice homework or whatever is sent home. They have to have a place where it is a quiet place where they can can reinforce the learning that they've learned at school. But we ask that you set up a place at home, and especially now as they're preparing for STAAR, and I know that teachers are sending things home with students, is that they need a designated place that they can just study or just look at things and read quietly. In addition, we ask for you to encourage your child to read every day, even if it's 15 minutes every day, 30 minutes every day. I have a son who is in 7th grade, and starting in 2nd grade, we make him read every day. So before he gets on his video games, he has to do 30 minutes of reading. So in order to play video games, you have to read. And so it's just part of the work that our son knows he has to do. So here are some options. Here in LaPorte, we have Sora. And Sora is an electronic digital book collection, and it is with partnership with the library system, the public library system. And so your child is able to link to the public libraries and read books online. In addition, we have a robust classroom libraries that our teachers have been working hard. Our administrators in elementary, middle have been working in expanding classroom libraries so that teachers have books available for students every day. So we have those, as well as our libraries in our schools. So we ask that you ask your child, well, where's their book? And we will definitely get them a book if they need one from home to bring home. But again, if you are exploring reading books digitally, it is called Sora, S-O-R-A, and your school administrators and teachers will gladly help you maneuver through that to get signed up for your child. Again, as Julie had shared, it is important that reading and writing connects together in everything students are doing. And this is starting with, again, our pre-Kers. Early literacy with pre-K up to 12th grade, we know that writing is just as important as reading. And so we ask that you have time where students are reading, but they may write what they wrote, what they read about. So write a paragraph. Think about what they read. And remember, as I shared earlier, the question is why? So why was this, what happened to this character? Why did the problem occur here? So those are building analytical and critical thinking skills that's essential for students up to college until they get to graduation and up to high school and college. Encourage healthy habits. We also know that students will not be successful academically if they are not sleeping well, if they're not eating well, if they have inconsistent bedtimes. So we encourage parents to ensure that students have a consistent bedtime, they're sleeping on time, they have at least 8, 9, 10 hours of sleep. Physical activity, being able to go outside and exercise the brain, we call it, and also having healthy meals, because all those fuel a healthy mind. And we understand that this is important for every child from elementary up to high school. And a big thing, again, as I shared, is limiting screen time with TV, screen time with video games. We know that in this new generation, our kiddos, the first thing they want to do is go home and get on their video games or watch some TV. So we ask that you also limit that. And instead of video games, what about a book, or read a book, read a magazine, just to give them some time to have healthy habits in eating, in exercising, but also academically. So here, if you take a look at sample questions, you know that your child can expect long testing dates. So we want to share with you that the child, when they receive their test scores, it will be confidential, that you as the parent are the only one who will see their scores when it is released through TEA. And so Julie's going to share with you some resources for you in terms of looking at your scores.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Brown. So again, as she mentioned, there are lots of things that you at home can be doing to help support your student for success on STAAR. And we want to provide you with some additional resources to help with that process. So one of the things that we've put together for you is just a link here to an online resource from TEA. It is the Parent Tools for Parents. So if you use your phones, you can scan that QR code, or down at the bottom of that orange section, you'll see the website link. There is texasassessment.gov/redesign resources. And on this website, you will find a checklist of things to do to help your student prepare for STAAR. You will find a link to sample STAAR questions and sample tests so that you can walk through different test samples with your student. You can take a look at what those look like online. You can have your student practice some of those sample test questions at home as well with those online practice tests. So the more your student is able to practice and explore, in addition to what they do at school, the better prepared your student will be for the redesigned STAAR, the new platform, and all the new challenges that it will face or it'll pose for our students. Another resource that we have for you, as Dr. Brown mentioned, is a link to the STAAR report card. Once the STAAR test is finished and test results come back out, you will be given access to a comprehensive report of how your student did in each subject for which he or she tested. So if you, again, click this QR code or the link below, texasassessment.gov/STAAR score, you will have access to the STAAR report card. It'll provide you information on how to read that report card. Number one, it's a very detailed report card. It shows how your student performed at the current grade level. If you recall, I mentioned approaches, meets, and masters are the designations that your student earns based on their scale score. And approaches means they're approaching grade level performance. Meets indicates they've met grade level performance, and masters means they've mastered grade level performance. So this report card will go in depth in terms of your student's current grade performance. It will compare your student's performance this year to last year and years previous, so you can see if your student is progressing, making progress, moving forward, or if there is some sliding happening, and that will be important for your family to talk about with your student and with teachers at school. And then finally, there are links, plethora of links for resources and supports that families can access to just help ensure your students' continued success in future grades and on future assessments.
Thanks, Julie. One of the other ways that we're making it easier for our LaPorte parents is accessing the results through our parent portal. So if you see here on this screen, this is the website for Parent Portal. And here are the directions that once the scores are uploaded, meaning TA uploads it to the district, we will be putting your child score in Family Access Center. And so we have given you directions in how this would look and how you could go in and log in once the scores. And the next few slides, I'll give you the dates of when those scores will be out and ready to view. But this, instead of, you have two options. You can go into TA and pull it from TA, or again, this will be uploaded in Family Access Center in LP Parent Portal so that your child's scores will be there for you to view. And so if you look at it, the family, just like it would be in TA, the family portal will have a detailed report. It will show, and here's a little snippet of what it would look like if it's the STAAR reading language arts. You'll see again the overall, the category results, the test questions, the response, the Lexile trend. So everything will be here for you in the Family Access Center under the portal for testing. So here are some important dates. So you're wondering when these scores will be out and ready to view. So if you look at this for STAAR grades 3 through 8, August 16th is the date that TA is letting us know that those scores will be available for view. And when it is viewed through TA, we will put it automatically into family access for you so that you can view it. In addition, TELPAS, you'll see that TELPAS will be available. If your child is taking TELPAS, it will be available on July 28th. This will also be in the family portal, parent portal, so you can view the score for TELPAS. If your child is taking STAAR Alternate 2, it will be available August the 3rd, and then TELPAS Alternate will be available May 31st. So again, we wanted to say these helpful hints today are just a few things that are important that we felt that as a parent, that we all as parents would want to know as my child and as Julie's child and your child are preparing for STAAR so that you understand what STAAR 2.0 STAAR redesign looks like. So, and here are the dates. Now, what TA does, if you go into TA website, they have a testing window that they allow school districts to decide when to give each of the tests. So we have the dates here for LaPorte. So here you'll see that, and it's coming up on Tuesday, April 25th, our reading language arts grades 3 through 5 will be taking STAAR. On May 2nd, grade 5 will be taking science, and on May 9th, math STAAR grades 3 to 5. So it is in April, end of April and early May. So we have, again, you know, most of you have heard your child coming home, and we have Rock and Review now, and we are proud of the work that the students are doing and teachers are doing in the classroom with Rock and Review, but all of this is preparing for the STAAR tests that are coming soon. And for middle school dates, on April 25th, we have reading language arts for grades 6 through 8. On the 27th of April, social studies, grade 8 only. On May 2nd, we have grades 6 through 8 math. May 3rd, science, grade 8 only. Again, grade 8. If you have a child in grade 8, they have science, social studies, ELA, and math tests this year. And then on May 9th, any 8th grade students who are currently in Algebra 1, they will be taking the Algebra 1 test on May the 9th. So again, we just want to let you know our priority, here it is, and it's in every logo in LaPorte, is every student's success is our #1 priority. This is our North Star compass. Every decision that are made in our district is based on what is best for our students. How can we ensure that every student who walks into LaPorte schools will be successful? So hopefully this was helpful for you. We will have this recording placed in the website so that if you missed any part of it, you can go back and view the video and also have this slide deck with the different resources in here so that you can review it again. But we appreciate your time. We appreciate you being a part of the partnership and us and ensuring that your child is successful. And we just appreciate you choosing LaPorte. Julie, anything else?
Nope, that's it. And it just, as
Okay.
always, we just appreciate your support, and we look forward to our students being super successful on this year's STAAR.
Thank you so much. And we are ahead of time at 6:39. So thank you and enjoy your evening.